all know why Tengen eagerly went to the entertainment district. With his 3 pairs of melons missing, obviously he would be worried and want to get them back as quickly as possible, but what if Tengen didn't go to the entertainment district and instead Sanemi was sent in his place? How differently would the battle have played out? Who comes out alive? Well, I've got 3 interesting theories here on what might have happened, so stick around and find out. So in the first theory, Sanemi heads off to the entertainment district in order to rescue Tengen's wives. Sanemi isn't exactly one for stealth and he would charge in straight, looking to find his opponents as quickly as possible. In his search, he would find Daki first, just like what happened with Tengen. He attacks her and successfully cuts her head off. To his surprise though, Daki doesn't die immediately. This frustrates Sanemi as he would probably see this as an insult to his strength. So he would head closer to her to try and finish the job once and for all, only to get ambushed by Gyutaro. Sanemi is surprised, but quickly recovers and goes on to battle Gyutaro while Daki smugly watches. Now Sanemi is no small fry. In fact, he's easily one of the strongest Hashira and much more powerful than Tengen. But he doesn't have the incredible stuff that Tengen had, and that would be his poison resistance. Sanemi has been shown to resist poison for long periods of time in other parts of the Demon Slayer story, but this poison from Gyutaro is incredibly potent. Sanemi fights Gyutaro, but in his rush to end the fight, he gets a single scratch from Gyutaro's weapon, immediately poisoning him. Regardless, however, Sanemi realizes that slicing off both Gyutaro and Daki's heads at the same time is the only way to get rid of them for good. So he does just that. With incredible speed, he manages to take out both Gyutaro and Daki. Still, the cost was too high, and Sanemi lays in the rubble of the landscape that was destroyed during the battle and succumbs to the poison. Now that was just the first of the 3 theories of what would happen if Sanemi went to the entertainment district instead of Tengen. Let's see if the next one can top this. In the second theory, Sanemi is a bit less calm and collected than he was in the first. We all know Sanemi absolutely despises demons. In fact, when he first met Tanjiro and Nezuko, his immediate reaction was to stab a sword through Nezuko's adorable box and to try to kill her. You can do all you want, but leave the adorable pumpkin that is Nezuko alone. Regardless, Sanemi has been shown to let his bloodlust guide him, and he's very hot-tempered and more of a brawler than a thinker. So in this version of the story, just like the last, Gyutaro immediately rushes in and tries to find Tengen's wives as well as hunt down the demons terrorizing the area. He runs into Daki just like before and successfully attempts to cut off her head. When she doesn't die immediately, he steps in to finish the job and gets ambushed by Gyutaro. Now this is where this theory takes a harder turn than the last. Gyutaro gets enraged by the thought of having to take care of 2 demons who have been terrorizing people for far too long. He attacks Gyutaro and Daki together, trying his best to cut off their necks and end the fight. Sanemi is faster and stronger than Tengen, so maybe he's able to successfully pull it off once or twice. But as we know, as long as one of the demon siblings is alive, the other will always survive. During the battle, Sanemi sustains multiple scratches and cuts and begins to feel weighed down and sluggish as the fight progresses. Still, his blind bloodlust for the eradication of all demons pushes him to fight harder and move faster, with Gyutaro being pushed so far that he has to spam his blood attacks on Sanemi, leading to a very tense and wild fight. Still, he can only resist the poison for so long, and as time drags on and the poison spreads, Sanemi slowly wears himself out, eventually being brought to his knees, unable to fight. Gyutaro would smugly tower over Sanemi, who still growls in defiance, while Daki laughs behind them. Gyutaro taunts Sanemi for his determination and even tells him that had things been different, maybe he would have won. Regardless, Gyutaro stabs him through the chest, ending Sanemi's life and continuing his reign of terror in the entertainment district. That's a grim and tragic ending to a theory. Let's check out Theory 3 and see if it's any different. Now before we dive into Theory 3, I'm sure you've been asking the same question: where are the 3 musketeers? That's right, I'm talking about Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. Don't worry, I didn't forget about the most important characters in the show, just like that. It was intentional. You see, Tanjiro and Sanemi have never seen eye to eye. I don't blame him, of course. I mean, are you supposed to like the man who tried to kill your sister during their first meeting? So obviously, the 2 parties would hate to be anywhere near each other, not to even mention working together. So for this next theory, Sanemi decides to work with our three lovable goofs. Tanjiro offers to help mainly to help Tengen get his wives back, while Sanemi is heavily convinced by Kaguya to work well with the three and prioritize the mission and each other's welfare over anything else. They head over to the entertainment district together. Zenitsu, a man of culture, obviously does not pass up the opportunity to do some exploration, and convinces the rest to pretend to be customers and explore the rooms to find Tengen's wives. Tanjiro and Inosuke head around trying to find traces of demons, while Zenitsu balances his curiosity with the mission. Meanwhile, Sanemi gets kicked out of multiple rooms for indecent behavior and harassment. As they search, they don't see anything unusual, and this makes them anxious and uneasy. Even though they see signs of demons around, with Tanjiro finding traces of demonic scents around and the rest feeling other signs of demonic presence in the area, the demons seem to not be making their location obvious. Just as it happens in the anime, Zenitsu eventually triggers the awareness of Daki, who incapacitates and kidnaps him. The group reunites, now realizing that even Zenitsu is missing, and this causes them, Inosuke and Sanemi, to hurry off faster in search of the demons. After investigating deeper into what's going on, they eventually encounter Daki, who attacks them without wasting any time. As Inosuke and Tanjiro prepare for a battle before they can even comprehend the situation, Sanemi has already dashed forward, severing the pieces of cloth she had begun to materialize, leaving Daki immediately immobilized and confused. Then with a swift slave, he severs her head from her body, presumably killing her. As Daki and Sanemi battle, Tanjiro discovers three women, while Inosuke finds Zenitsu. After tending to the woman, Tanjiro asks them if one of them is Tengen's wife. To their shock, all three of them answer yes. The sheer shock of that answer is enough to jolt Inosuke awake from his sleep. Sanemi is not amused by the situation and walks back to check up on the three idiots and the woman they were sent to rescue. Except, as he walks towards them, he feels a presence hastily dashing towards his back. He makes a quick movement to deflect an attack, but Inosuke immediately rushes and tackles the unknown figure rushing toward them. He successfully defends Sanemi, but takes a cut to his hand which starts turning blue, indicating that he has been poisoned. Sanemi takes quick notice of this and orders the three to fall back while he analyzes the situation. If he were on his own, he could have been more careless and had more fun, but as much as he hated to admit it, he had people to look after and was ordered to prioritize their well-being. While studying his new opponent, he reveals himself to be the true Upper Moon 6, Gyutaro. The demon curses him for trying to kill his sister and begins to charge up an attack. Meanwhile, Sanemi notices this and prepares a strike of his own. The two rush at each other, and a startling trade of blows begins. All the while, Sanemi is now much more careful, since he is fully aware that a single scratch from this demon could put him out of his commission with that strong poison. The intensity of the battle causes a sudden collapse of the cave they are fighting in. Zenitsu, with blinding speed, manages to take some of the victims to safety, while the battle picks its way out of the cave into the now destroyed entertainment district. Daki inadvertently awakens Nezuko, who along with Tanjiro and Inosuke attacks her swiftly, giving her no room to breathe. Meanwhile, Sanemi starts gaining the upper hand against Gyutaro, understanding that the faster they end this fight, the better the odds are of his victory. Eventually, after a long and stressful battle, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Zenitsu successfully defeat Daki, slicing off her head at the same time as Sanemi defeats Gyutaro, killing the two siblings in a climatic battle, and ending their rule over the now destroyed entertainment district. This last theory had the best outcome out of all the others, seeing the siblings defeated without losing any important demon slayers. The presence of Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu forced Sanemi to reluctantly take a more cautious approach to the battle, which ended up working in his favor. How would their relationship as demon slayers progress going forward now that they have fought together as brothers in arms? That could be the subject of another video. Meanwhile, check out this awesome video here about how different the story of Demon Slayer would be if Tanjiro became a demon along with his sister Nezuko. If you're interested in hearing about that, click the video now.